If it's Tuesday, that means the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout racing from the Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action in the late model stock cars on iRacing from Southern National Motorsports Park for the Sim Racing Tech Southern National 150. In a little more than 2 decades, Southern National Motorsports Park, aka Southern National, has earned a reputation as one of the premier short tracks in the Carolinas region. Originally opened in 1993, banked 4 10th Mile Speedway near Kenly, North Carolina, became the part of the NASCAR Home Tracks program that was host to the Wheeling Modified Series in 1998. That same year, the track's signature Thanksgiving Classic was born. It was originally known as the Autumn Classic. That 200-lap race, late model race, has proven to be actually the springboard, Chris, for careers of numbers of successful NASCAR drivers, including Scott Riggs and Denny Hamlin. So, Chris, it's not Thanksgiving yet, but we've got a lot of drivers hungry for a win and a seat at the championship table in just about 3 weeks. What are drivers going to have to do tonight over the course of about 150 laps to get that win?
Well, first thing they're going to have to do is stay out of trouble. This is a really, really fast short track. We're seeing lap times tonight in the low 14-second bracket, so they're going to be working their way around this track very, very quickly. So things can happen fast, and so small wrecks can turn into big wrecks very, very quickly. So you're going to want to keep that nose clean all night tonight. As you mentioned, Ellis, this is just 0.4 miles long. It's a very, very short track. But there's 17 degrees of banking, which is more than a lot of these other short tracks that we go to. So that sort of contributes to that speed. We got 150 laps here tonight, 3 sets of tires in the pits. Fuel shouldn't be a factor. It should be a great show all night.
Lots of stories we're going to be following. You mentioned taking care of the car, staying out of trouble. There is one trouble spot on the track that we've noticed in practice. We'll get to that here after the Slingshot Racing pre-race tradition of playing the national anthem, which we're going to head to right now, and we will catch you on the other end of the national anthem. All right, we're back in Kinley, North Carolina at Southern National Motorsports Park. Qualifying is underway as you watch Scotty Sobczak hit the track. He's actually third place in points right now. About 4.5, 5 minutes left in qualifying to set the grid for tonight's Sim Racing Tech Southern National 150 here. Chris, we got a lot of storylines we're going to be looking at throughout the race. This is the 4th out of 6 races of the season, so we've crossed the halfway point in this short summer season. Just a quick look at the standings. James Ray is your points leader. He got an initial win early on in the season. Matt Kuntz is sitting about 11 points back from Ray. And remember, Matt Kuntz just 3 weeks ago got that closest victory or margin of victory by 3/1000ths of a second over Rye Jones, who I thought we were looking at. We're actually looking at James Ray on the track right now. That is your points leader. Kuntz is about 11 points back. Scotty Sobczak is actually 11 points back as well, tied for second place in the points. And then we got Rye Jones, Chris. Rye Jones is someone who has not won a race. Those previous two drivers, Kuntz and Ray, they've got a victory. Rye Jones has finished bridesmaid, second place 2 weeks in a row. He's going to be looking to see if he can put in a solid qualifying effort tonight and see if he can get a win for that number 91 car. That driver from Pensacola, Florida. We'll be keeping an eye on Rye Jones. A couple other interesting tidbits. James Ray and Patrick Colby are the only drivers to finish in the top 5 for 2 out of 3 races. So they've got the highest top five finish percentages out of all drivers this season. So we'll be keeping an eye on them. And we mentioned Matt Kuntz. Kuntz with only 4 incident points this entire season. It's the lowest in the league among drivers who have run all 3 races, Chris. And that kind of brings us to the tips of the race. What are drivers going to have to do tonight if they're going to walk away with a victory at the end of the evening? And one of the things that you and I talked about a little bit before the race was they're going to have to stay out of trouble. We saw a lot of carnage the past couple of weeks here, and you got to stay out of trouble. Tempers are going to flare, bumpers might collide with each other, but you gotta follow the lead of Matt Kuntz, who's only had 4 incident points. You got to stay out of trouble. Consistency and keeping your nose clean is what's going to land you, in the title fight at the very end of the season. And with that, we've had a week off. These drivers are going to have to shake the rust off here with about 2 minutes left in qualifying. They've had an hour of practice. They've had the setup for a few days, but they haven't raced each other in 2 weeks. So I'd imagine some drivers are probably going to get antsy. They're going to be a little bit antsy to get back on the track tonight, and it might take a couple laps to shake off some of that rust. And with that tire strategy, Chris, we've seen different strategies kind of win the day over the course of the season. We saw Matt Kuntz win the race on 91-lap old tires, and we've seen other drivers like James Ray charge up through the field on new tires. So do you have any sort of inclination as what we might see the prevailing strategy be tonight?
Well, like you said, we've seen a couple of different ways to look at that over the course of this season. I really don't have I don't have a clue what we're going to see as far as like who's going to do it. But I do know when you do decide to take those tires has been crucial all season long. It has been so important. And it's been a factor in who won that race. You talked about Matt Kuntz earlier this year picking up that win and that photo finish. Him deciding not to pit is what put him in that position. He made a great call there, and he did a really good job on those old tires. But as you also mentioned, we've seen James Ray charge up through the field on those new tires to take a win. So, it's hard to say what's going to happen. I do know though, whoever when you decide to take tires is going to play a key role in who wins this race tonight.
Absolutely. And the question is, when do you pit? You're going to have some drivers try to maybe get off sequence because they've seen it be successful. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that for you viewers tonight as we go through these 150 laps. Just about 30 seconds left in qualifying. Shout out to a couple folks in the chat right now. I know we've got Chase Berry in the chat. Welcome, Chase. He says he's got money on the pace car. And also he says Rye might try to cause a caution. Or Rye will cause a caution. Rye Jones, the driver of that number 91. I don't know, Chase. Rye's had he's probably put together pretty good run the past couple of weeks. So
been
we'll
really
see
fast.
What Jones does on the track tonight. We've got a Kenneth Gallman fan, the Honey Badger in the chat. We appreciate them tuning in and everyone who's watching right now across all of our platforms. Qualifying is complete. And we've got the starting grid that we're going to present to you here from Evan Pienta Designs. And Chris, no surprise, Scotty Sobczak, the driver of that number 91, or the 81 car, last week's winner, last race's winner, is your pole sitter, your Evan Pienta Pole Award winner tonight. And as we mentioned, Evan Pienta Graphic Designs produced all the race logos you see on the screen right now for the Southern National 150. All the poll winners will get entered into a contest, a drawing to see who gets a free paint scheme consultation and design from Evan Pienta at the end of this 6-race season from Team 53. So Scotty Sobczak is your pole sitter, and Chris, a new name, familiar to Slingshot Racing this summer, but a new name to the Team 53 late model summer shootout. Braxton DeWeese in that number 15 going to be starting in the outside of row number 1. James Ray, your points leader, starting third. Josh Ward, Chris, looking to see if he can end what's been a pretty big dry spell in terms of great finishes. We have become accustomed to Josh having good runs, but hasn't been that way so far in the late model summer series from Team 53. So that 92 is going to be looking to get on track tonight. Matt Kuntz won a couple weeks ago. We mentioned that, starting 5th. Kenneth Gallman. I know we've got a couple of Gallman fans in the chat tonight, starting in the 6th position. They'll be happy about that. Rye Jones, the Pensacola, Florida driver, 2nd place 2 weeks in a row, starting 7th. He's going to be starting from a pretty good spot if he's going to go on and get a win tonight. Nick DeCesare, great qualifying effort in 8th on the outside of row 4. Inside of row 5, Johnny Rapp, the Truck Series champion from last season, struggling a little bit this season. He creeps up on the back bumper of that number 91, gives him a bit of a nudge. Johnny Rapp starting 9th. Patrick Colby 10th. Tony Caputo's had a pretty good season so far, starting 11th. Lee Campbell, hey, I talked to Lee, Chris. He's got a brand new wheel. He's excited about it. He's going to be starting in the 12th position. Jordan Ives starting 13th. Chris Blassie starting 16th. And hey, fun fact about Chris Blassie, he has moved up an average of 5 positions each race, the highest of any driver we've got. So Brandon Waldrer at 15th, Clint Walker 16th, and Daniel Berg going to be starting tail end of the field in 17th, Chris. About half a lap, 3/4 of a lap from the start here. Any words of wisdom for these drivers before they take the green?
Check your emotions at the door, because this is probably going to get pretty wild here tonight.
Drivers coming around the backstretch. Pace truck is about to pull off. Head into turn 4. Pace truck's off. Scotty Sobczak and Braxton DeWeese lead him to the green flag in the the Sim Racing Tech Southern 150. Side by side for the lead right now. Headed down into turn number 3. Scott Sobczak on the inside. Braxton DeWeese on the outside, making that outside line work, Chris. He's looking like he's going to lead lap number 1. James Ray watching that battle in 3rd place. Josh Ward settles out in 4th. Battle between, looks like Kenneth Gallman and Rye Jones back there in the 6th position. Scott Sobczak's going to claim the lead outright, but he's going to have to deal with Braxton DeWeese looking down on the inside. Scott Sobczak washes up the track a little bit outside of turn number 2, but it looks like it's all going to settle up out front right now. Your top 4 is Sobczak, DeWeese, Ray, Ward, and Matt Kuntz in 5th, followed by Rye Jones. Looking through the field a little bit for some battles maybe going on. I see looks like the 16 of Chris Blassie running a different paint scheme tonight, making it a little difficult on us getting by Nick DeCesare there in the 00.
Yeah, we've also got Patrick Colby looking to the inside of Kenneth Gallman right here. This is a battle for the 9th position. They make a little contact.
Yeah.
You'll see a little bit of hip check off the corners, off of 2 and off of 4 tonight. That's just good short track racing as Colby completes the pass right here. And here's Lee Campbell with that new steering wheel, also looking to follow through right here. This is something that you got to be really careful of, getting hung out on the outside and getting freight trained. Not being able to get back to the bottom. Kenneth wants to squeeze down there in front of Chris Blassie, and he's gonna. Oh, Chris got him a break. Yep, he's gonna get in there.
Yeah, looks like Ken Gallman. I know we've got some fans. He's down 5 positions. Really struggled on the outside line those first couple of laps, Chris. But he's going to settle here in the 11th position. I know he'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief. Getting in there behind Lee Campbell, looking through the rest of the field right now. Everyone's single file, minding their P's and Q's. Scott Sobczak's your leader, Braxton DeWeese, after making an initial challenge on lap number 1 on that outside line, has settled in nicely in 2nd place. And, right now, everyone, I don't see a battle going on the track right now, at least in terms of side-by-side cars. Chris, we had talked a little bit about Johnny Rapp. He's actually in the 7th position after starting 9th in that number 52 Mission Barbecue car. Johnny really has struggled this season to maybe understand the feel of the car. He's sitting 9th in points, and his average finish on the season is 9th, which is just something we're not necessarily accustomed to seeing from him. And that speaks, I think, volumes a little bit to how this is a different discipline than what Slingshot Racing League has traditionally run with the NASCAR stock cars. So
I just think that Johnny likes Wednesday nights a lot more than Tuesday nights. Since we got trouble on the track.
Hey, we got a caution on the track. Looks like Kenneth Gallman might have been what initiated that caution. We'll go back and see if we can take a look to see what happened.
Yeah, we're going down right here.
A little bit loose out of turn 2, and we had mentioned that earlier in pre-race.
Yeah, he's underneath. Looking underneath Lee Campbell right here. Might have clipped that apron a little bit there. Gets a little bit loose. Chris Blassie makes a little bit of contact after he was already sliding sideways. But they're all going to get away with it, and everybody will soldier on.
Yeah, everyone walks away from that unscathed, it looks like. I know the Kenneth Gallman fans in the chat, Grizzly and the Honey Badger, are going to be a little bit disappointed by that. But, hey, we move forward. Looking at the leaders right now to see if they're going to come in for the pit stop here. We're about 15 laps in. And we mentioned these drivers have 3 changes of tires. Might be a little bit early to use that. I think pit road was open that time, and we didn't see anyone.
Yeah, I think that they're counting on having a lot more cautions tonight, and I think they're right. I think that we'll get a lot of green flag racing in, but I think we, this is typical short track, and we'll probably go through a string of cautions.
Yeah, I know we've got some other fans in the chat and YouTube. We've got some Braxton DeWeese fans. We've got some Tony Caputo fans. So shout out to those folks for tuning in. We appreciate y'all's viewership, and hopefully your drivers can perform well tonight. Just as a heads up, Braxton DeWeese is in 2nd place. He was initially scored as the leader for me for a second, but he is going to be leading them on the outside. Scott Sobczak is going to be the control car. Pace truck pulls off. We get ready for the restart here. Green flag is back out at Southern National for Slingshot Racing League in the Team 53 Summer Shootout. Braxton DeWeese on the outside yet again, but he's mounting a charge for the lead. We'll see if he can keep that momentum into turn 3 and out of turn 4 coming to the line.
Oh, Rye Jones sideways.
Very close.
Yeah, Rye Jones
struggling with the exit of these corners.
Yeah, Rye Jones really sideways there. We saw Braxton DeWeese also really sideways. Braxton DeWeese does a really nice job firing off here on the outside. Saw it on the initial start, and he's doing a really nice job here. He's running Scott Sobczak close, and a lot of this is trust. You know, he obviously trusts Scott, that Scott's going to hold his line and not wash up into him. This is good stuff right here.
Don't speak too soon.
Yeah.
That 81 got a little bit high there, and this is an interesting dynamic to talk about as these two drivers battle back and forth. Scott Sobczak, a Slingshot regular. Braxton DeWeese won the 87 Series race a couple weeks ago, and the Wednesday night race, and this is the first time he's raced in the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout, though. So a lot of these drivers unfamiliar with the driver of that number 8 car out on track. He's assigned the number 15, but he's got the 8. We forgot to reassign that number, but you can see the driver of that number 8 car right now, that Interstate Ford Mustang, claims the lead outright on Scott Sobczak, who's probably just going to sit back and watch the driver of that number 8, see if he can figure out Braxton DeWeese and learn how to race around him a little bit. But that initial kind of pairing back and forth between those two drivers, I thought, couldn't ask for better.
Yeah,
see Johnny Rapp on the outside there really struggling though.
Yeah, he's caught in that lane right there. We said, but I mean, I think that Braxton DeWeese just showed us that the outside can work. I think that it's possible for it to work, but you have to be super, super aggressive, and you have to get right on the door of that guy that's on the inside of you to make it work. But yeah, Johnny's sliding back here. Look for him to possibly fall in line here. Well, no, doesn't look like he has any interest. He's going to keep on running up there.
He's just going to, he might just be determined to make that high line work. He's just preparing for later on in the race. Maybe to see if he can get that high line worked in right now. But Johnny Rapp sliding back a little bit After starting in ninth, he is back to the 12th position. So he backs up that average ninth place starting spot with a ninth place qualifying effort tonight. But he slid back in field a little bit. Lap 27 of 150 are complete. We look at James Ray sitting in third place right now. Scotty Sobczak, Braxton DeWeese is pulling away a little bit, Chris, but the battle for second is heating up between Sobczak, Ray, Ward, and Jones, and also Kuntz has slipped back in there into third. I spoke to Matt Kuntz earlier. He said he hadn't really had a lot of whole practice laps here at Southern National, so seeing him with a good effort despite maybe not getting as many laps on the track as he would like right now.
Yeah, he's putting in a nice effort, and yeah, one of them knows, James Ray looking at the inside of Scott Sobczak. James Ray is cutting through the center of the corner real nice. He's got a real nice line right on the bottom, cutting to the bottom.
Josh Ward's going to sneak a nose in there, though.
Yeah, and you see what happens if you lose your momentum or if you can't complete a pass, you open yourself up to being pounced on by the guy right behind you, and that's exactly what happened there. But they get it squared away. I think that James Ray is going to try to get back to running that line that he was running before. Let's watch from the rear bumper of Scotty Sobczak here, and you can sort of see what I'm talking about. Right here in the center of the corner, just look how he keeps that left front pinned right on that white line right there. That's a car that's turning really, really well. Center of the corner speed is really good. That's what you want on a track like this.
Absolutely. Watch the driver of that 0-1 black and purple car take it to the back end of that 81 Scott Sobczak. And you see the approach a little bit different there. Came up and he's going to arc it down out of the corner that time by James Ray, sitting in third position, looking to improve on that. Braxton DeWeese, just for fans' heads up, is about 7/10 out in front right now. First race, Slingshot Racing, you see James Ray out of Illinois. He is your points leader, sitting on about an 11-point lead right now over the rest of the field, particularly over Scotty Sobczak, Ry Jones, and Matt Kuntz. So looking to see if he can put together a better run. I know Ray had some trouble last weekend. I think he ended up finishing outside the top 5 for the first time all season, Chris. So looking to see if he can get back into his top 5 form after a little bit of struggle at Hickory Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was his roughest race of the season by far. But he's still got the points lead. He's obviously still got a lot of speed, and all it did was really make this championship battle just a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, speaking of interesting, battle going on for the 10th position right now between top 10. Chris Blassie, Nick DeCesare, Tony Caputo, several guys out there. Lee Campbell in the 8th position. Really mixing it up. Got a little bit of a hornet's nest of cars here. Chris Blassie looking on the inside of Tony Caputo on that 42. Not going to be able to complete the pass that time out of 4, but going to work on him here again in turn 1. Tony grabbed the wall a little bit loose out of turn 2, Chris, which we had mentioned kind of being something to watch all night long. Drivers are struggling on exit of 2. Just a little bump there on the exit of 2 gets the cars upset, it seems like.
Yeah, it definitely does. And this is a nice little battle right here involving a lot of guys. Right now, what you want to do is not make a slip. You don't want to slip up into that second lane, give that guy a chance to put his nose inside of you. Tony Caputo looks like he tagged the wall again right there. No harm, no foul, though. Everything should be fine with these cars. Down here in 1 and 2, it looks like he's hugging the inside just a little bit better than Lee Campbell is on exit. Well, I say that, and then he goes up the track, and he opens the door for Blassie to look to the inside.
Yeah, tough racing here back in the 8th, 9th, 10th. And 11th position between these drivers, having a really good run. I'm still struggling with Chris Blassie's car not being white and orange, black and orange this week. A little bit of an alternate scheme for the driver of that number 16, Chris. But he's having a pretty good effort right now in 10th place. Chris Blassie, one of our Gallman fans in the chat, mentioned that Kenneth is moving back up after struggling early on, losing several spots on the start of this race on lap 44. He is slowly working his way back up through the field, sitting 12th right now, just in front of Johnny Rapp. But man, Lee Campbell gets a little bit loose on the exit of 4. Is going to open up the door for Tony Caputo, the driver of that gray number 42. Lee Campbell's going to give him room on the inside. We'll see if Chris Blassie is going to follow him through there. A little bit of contact between the 14 and 42. Slide of paper between those two cars right now. Great battle for the 8th position.
Yeah, I think that's just what you have to do if you're the guy on the outside. We've seen it if you are the guy on the outside and you're trying to maintain your position or even grab a spot, you have got to run the guy that is on your inside super close, super tight. Oh, and he tries. Oh, that was so close right there between the 14 and the 16. They almost got together.
Speaking of getting together, Chris, the leader, Braxton DeWeese, is coming into contact now with some lap cars, which has allowed Scott Sobczak to close a little bit up front in first and second. As soon as I say that, though, looks like Braxton is going to open up that gap just a little bit more. He's got a few more lap cars he's going to be coming up on here. The next one's going to be Brandon Waldrop in that red number 50 car, just about 15 now, probably maybe 10 car lengths ahead. So keep an eye, see how that pass goes. That's one of the challenges of the late model series on these short tracks. You're going to have to deal with lap cars earlier in the race than maybe we do in, let's say, the Apex Energy series that runs on Wednesday night. So a bit of an added dimensional challenge here as we see Braxton DeWeese climb up to the back of that 52, looking like he's going to try to make the pass on the inside here. Coming in and out into turn 3, the 50 goes up the track, gives those leaders plenty of room. Sobczak Ray's going to slide by. I'd imagine Josh Ward's going to be coming by this corner. So the top 4 now closed up just a little bit, Chris. Now within about a second and a half of each other for the lead here, top 4 cars.
Yeah, if you're one of these leaders here, if you're, Braxton DeWeese, Scotty Sobczak, James Ray, all you want out of lap traffic is just to be predictable. You're gonna run into lap traffic. You're gonna see them on a small little track like this, and you're probably gonna see them same people more than once. It's just the nature of the beast here. You just want them to be consistent and be predictable. Put your cars in the same place. Vocalize over the chat where you're gonna go or where you want, as the leader, where you want them to go, and that's all you can ask for.
Hey, you mentioned consistency. I want to take a moment to shout out to the driver of the number 88. He's running in 17th, maybe not the run he would like to have tonight, but Daniel Bird doing a really good job. I was looking at incident points. I was looking at some numbers from this season. Daniel's only got 4 incident points. And when you're talking about short track racing, even if you're not running up front, those incident points pile up really fast with just bumper-to-bumper contact. And Daniel doing a really good job, driver out of the Midwest right now. He's running 17th, but he's consistently staying out of trouble, which is something that I know his peers out on the track definitely respect, and that's something that all racers look for, especially in a kind of a short track series like this. So just a shout out to the driver of that number 88. Got some good battles going on right now, working their way through lap traffic. Chris Blassie running in the 10th position, right behind Lee Campbell. Almost a little bit of contact there between those drivers. 16, Blassie's going to slide up underneath Lee Campbell, but they're going to be coming up here on the number 18 car of Jordan Ives. I know we probably got some Jordan Ives fans in the chat right now, but look at this great battle going on the track for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th position. These cars right on top of each other.
Yeah, Chris Blassie being a real gentleman right here. That was so close right there. He's been looking at the back bumper of Lee Campbell for so long right here. These guys are racing so clean, though. And I think that, he's going to use that lap car of Jordan Ives as a pick here, and he's going to complete the pass. Oh, Nick DeCesare's loose. He saved it,
Saves it. Keeps it. I don't know. Did he keep it out of the wall?
Let's go back and take a look, and we'll see if he kept it out of the wall. But that was a heck of a save. That was just a reaction to the 14 turning down, and nice save. Nicely done.
That car was almost 180 degrees sideways. So good job for Nick DeCesare. Save of the race so far on lap 63 of 150 in the Sim Racing Tech Southern National 150. Hey, Chris, let's not forget there is a battle for the lead going on the track right now. Scotty Sobczak is closing some ground, but he's got James Ray. Maybe James Ray is pushing him a little bit as he is harried from behind from James Ray. Scotty Sobczak is about 4/10 off the lead right now, but as soon as I say that, James Ray is going to duck to the inside, take a peek for second position, and see if he can take it here into turn number 1. We've seen Braxton DeWeese make that outside lone work, but Scotty Sobczak not quite as fast up there as we saw the driver of that number 15, the number 8 car earlier.
Yeah, Josh Ward is he's coming along with these guys as well, turning some really good lap times here as they almost come together. That was the 92 had a little bit of a shallow entry right there to the corner, but he managed to keep it off of Sobzak there. These guys are running real close. The outside line's not too bad. It's not too bad. You have to hit it perfect, but it's doable here. I don't think it's somewhere where you're going to run, obviously, but it's somewhere where you can go to complete a pass or to hold somebody off, maybe.
Yeah, you can definitely hold your ground for a little bit. There's a coming back bump with the 0-2 of Clint Walker that might have a say in how this battle for the third position goes. Yep. 0-2 is going to jump out of the way, but not in time. Scotty Sobzak's going to let off a little bit and slide in behind Josh Ward. Having a really good run, Josh Ward, in that number 92. I know he struggled a little bit this season. Josh Ward, I'm looking at his average finish this season. So his average finish is an 8th. So I know he's going to look to improve on that tonight. That driver out of the Carolina region. He's raced with Slingshot Racing before, has had a lot of speed. We just haven't seen that translate onto the short tracks in terms of finishes, this season. So we'll look to see if he can seal the deal. But James Ray on the back of Braxton DeWeese, Chris, this battle for the lead is heating up. That last lap, Ray had the faster lap between the two. So James Ray in that 0-1 has chased down the leader, Braxton DeWeese. And he is going to look to see if he can take the lead here on lap 73 of 150.
Yeah, he's really, really rotating the center of the corner nice, just like what we saw before. Josh Ward is also closing in. Just looking at his laps times here, he's also turning really good laps as here comes Ray to the inside of DeWeese.
Absolutely. Battle for the lead here at Southern National Motorsports Park in the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. Slingshot Racing League, Braxton DeWeese really being given a hard time here by James Ray, and they're going to come up on lap traffic. Waldrop and Campbell are taking up real estate in front of the 4 leaders, so we're going to see Waldrop gets out of the way. Lee Campbell's going to stay to the inside. He's got a little bit more speed than that 50, but he's going to slide up the track. He's going to let these leaders by for now. James Ray not giving up hope that he might be able to use the 14 as a pick, and he's going to do it maybe just in a different way than we thought, as the 8 really struggling to get by that 14. Lee Campbell holding his own. We mentioned that new wheel maybe giving Lee a little bit of extra confidence tonight in that number 14 car.
Yeah, let's ride on board right here with Braxton DeWeese. Let's see what we can see from the hands. So car looks a little bit edgy on entry. Yeah, I don't know if it's a situation where he's just burned up his tires just a little bit too much. He's still wrapping the bottom, trying to stay on the bottom. He knows if he keeps on doing that, it's going to make it harder.
Here we go.
Yeah, Ray's looking at the inside here.
We'll see if DeWeese can make this outside line work like he did earlier in the race. And one thing I'll say about DeWeese is he battles side by side for the lead. He is not an amateur at these late models. He's run multiple super late model stock series, or I guess late model stock car series in other leagues outside of Slingshot. So bit of a ringer coming in here halfway through the season, giving these drivers a run for their money and maybe catching these guys by surprise a little bit. But James Ray is not letting him get away after closing the gap.
Yeah, he's all over the back bumper of our leader right here. James Ray still rotating the bottom real good right here. He's got a good run. This is a good shot right here.
Got the bead coming into one here. Ray's got the line. We'll see if Braxton DeWeese carries the speed out of the corner. Looked like he might have grabbed the wall. Josh Ward grabbed the wall a little bit. They come up on the back bumper. Clint Walker, who's down in the apron. He's going to stay out of the fray.
Oh, he tagged the wall.
Got the wall a little bit. Yeah. Right at the start-finish line, Chris.
Wrinkled the right front up a good bit. He hit it hard enough to actually do some body damage. I don't think that's going to affect him too much here. Yeah, that's some pretty good contact as Ray is going to complete the pass and Ward's going to look to follow him.
Yeah, Josh Ward is right there taking advantage of the door that was opened by the driver, that 0-1. Josh Ward having the best run of his season so far here at Southern National Motorsports Park for Slingshot Racing League, and that number 92 as we watch on board. James Ray, they're coming up on the 18 of Jordan Ives. Once again, he gets...
Oh, no!
Josh Ward, Braxton DeWeese, Scott Sobzak all have contact on the backstretch, and we've got a big pile up on the backstretch on lap 85 of 150. We're going to have to take a look at that, Chris, but that was Jordan Ives. I'm not sure, what happened there. The initial contact was between Jordan Ives and Josh Ward and the driver of that number 92. We're going to go take a Look here.
Yeah, I think it was a situation of. Oh yeah, so I think that the 8 was down the track a little bit more than what the 92 thought he was going to be. They're coming up on a 3 wide situation right here. We're going to look at it from overhead so you can sort of see it from the drone view here. But I think that DeWeese or Josh Ward is. I think that he just moved up quicker than what Braxton DeWeese was anticipating him to, because Braxton DeWeese has a car to the outside of him. There's still really 3 wide right here, and they just make some contact. I think DeWeese was trying to leave room for Jordan Ives on the outside, and man, oh man, it turned into a big pile up.
That was one of those racing deals. I'm not sure if we can necessarily place blame on anybody there. Short tracks, these late model stock cars, you're going to catch lap cars, and that just happened. Wrong place, wrong time. That's definitely going to make it a little bit more difficult for Braxton DeWeese in that 8 if he's going to come back and win his first appearance in the Slingshot Racing League Team 53 Summer Series race here at Southern National. So heavy damage. The leaders have pit. It did give an opportunity, and it's probably going to be the lone pit stop of this race. I know a lot of those drivers are probably, really hungry for tires at that point. And we've got a couple drivers who did not come in. If my scoring is correct, Tony Caputo, Nick DeCesare maybe looking like they actually no, and they're now being scored as having come in and taken tires.
Yeah, I think that everybody at this point has taken tires, and yeah, that's an unfortunate incident that we saw a couple drivers piling into it afterwards. That was what I was talking about. That's like a Bristol style crash on this track, and you might even see that tomorrow night at Bristol. Things can happen so fast on these tracks that are, these short tracks that are high banked, where the lap times are really short. A lot of times you'll see a small accident turn into a bigger one. We saw a couple cars sort of pile into the wreck after it was over with, and it wasn't, necessarily because they were asleep at the wheel. It's just, man, with high banks and, high speeds, things happen really fast.
Absolutely, and happening really fast was that caution. Pace truck getting ready to pull off onto pit road. James Ray going to lead these drivers back to green. Scotty Sobczak starting second. Green flag back out at Southern National Motorsports Park. Ray is your leader. Sobczak second. Rye Jones gets third position on that start. He stayed out of trouble, I believe, in that last caution. That Pensacola, Florida driver we've seen kind of running back in 5th, 6th, 7th all night long is suddenly looking at a podium finish here right now. We see Matt Kuntz, who's also looking to get another top 5 tonight on the outside of Patrick Colby. Those two drivers really racing hard here into the top 5 for the first time tonight. But up front, Scott Sobczak, Chris, not letting the driver of that 01 get away too soon.
No, he's hanging right there with him, and at this point, that's what you want to do. He's probably filling out, the damage, trying to make sure that he doesn't have anything, too significant, and I don't think he does. Lap times look good. Looks like he's cutting the center real nice. Man, Matt Kuntz was sideways off of 2 that time.
Yeah,
this is a hornet's nest back here.
Goes to battle with Tony Caputo, Patrick Colby just a lap before, and now he's got to deal with Nick DeCesare and Johnny Rapp, as well as Kenneth Gallman sitting in 9th, so he's moving his way back up through the field with some early issues in this race. Braxton DeWeese looking like he is done for the night after leading several laps, getting caught up in a caution on lap 85. Right now, we are on 97 of 150. We're almost past the 2/3 mark of this race. Single file drivers kind of settled out a little bit as we look through some of the action going on the track. I see a little battle going on between Daniel Berg and Brandon Waldrip back there. Actually, that's Jordan. Yeah, that's Daniel Berg back in 15th. Battling a little bit. He's a couple laps down, 6 laps down. I think he had some issues early on in the race, but he's continuing trucking along. Rye Jones, speaking of trucking along, Chris, he's sitting in 3rd place right now. Not looking like he's got the speed that the 2 leaders do. But, hey, one thing we do like to do in Slingshot Racing Leagues, we like to feature our drivers and kind of let you know a little bit about those guys. So right now we're going to take a moment to hear from Rye Jones. We asked our drivers 5 questions, some serious, some not so serious. So this is the Sim Racing Tech driver of the race, Rye Jones.
So Five Flag Speedway, his favorite track, and I'm not surprised at all because he's from, like, he lives in that area as he mentioned. But that's an interesting choice. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Rye Jones, that driver from Pensacola, Florida, struggled out the gate in race one, but ever since then, Rye Jones put together some really good races. 2 second place finishes in a row. Right now, he's running third place, so we'll be keeping an eye on the driver of that number 91. Keeping an eye on the battle for the lead. It's about 3/4 of a second lead right now for James Ray in that 01. Scott Sobczak not letting him check out too much, but I am noticing Rye Jones creeping up a little bit closer to the back bumper of the driver of the 81, Scott Sobczak. Patrick Colby is in fourth place. Patrick Colby having a good run tonight. Hey, Chris, Tony Caputo.
Yeah.
Top 5 going in the fifth position right now. Tony Caputo, I'm just looking, average start is 10th place. His average finish is 13th. I think he's been caught up in some issues over the course of the season. But we've seen Tony, that Michigan driver, have some good runs, but he just hasn't been able to seal the deal all season, in many cases by no fault of his own. But right now, having a good run in the top 5. If you're a Tony Caputo fan watching, you got to be loving what you're seeing right now for the driver of that number 42. So great job on Tony. He's kind of stayed out of trouble. He's had some good side-by-side racing earlier on. We saw earlier in this race. But lap 111, Tony Caputo running in 5th position. 6th position, Matt Kuntz. 7th position, Nick DeCesare. Those two teammates having another really good run here at Southern National. Johnny Rapp, Chris, is running in 8th position. And I know the Kenneth Gallman fans will be glad to hear he is running now in 9th position. First car a lap down, so if a caution does come out, the driver of that number 71, Kenneth Gallman, is going to be the beneficiary of that as we see him working the back bumper right now of Johnny Rapp in that Mission Barbecue Dodge. And hey, it looks like Jordan Ives might have parked it for the night. I see him on pit road right now in that number 80, Daniel Berg might have parked it for the night, driver of that number 88. I saw him on pit road, and I think he might be done for the evening. Jordan Ives right now running in the 13th position as well. So looking through the field, see what kind of action we've got. And Chris, that battle going on for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position is these guys are on top of each other. This is the definition of a hornet's nest right now. Matt Kuntz, Nick DeCesare, Rapp, Gallman, and Blassie. You got to throw a blanket over them. All 5, 6 of those cars now, they're creeping up on the back bumper of Tony Caputo in the 5th position. So we got a good 6-way battle going on right here, right now, as they crawl down the backstretch here at Southern National Motorsports Park.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before. Kuntz leading this group. He is closing in on the back bumper of Caputo, so it looks like Tony got off. He fired off really good on that restart there as Kenneth Gallman tags the wall a little bit there off too. But it looks like to me that Tony is doing a really nice job, but he's having a little bit of trouble wrapping the bottom. He's not quite as low as the driver at 13. He's taking a little bit of a wider entry. He did a really nice job that time. That was a great line right there through that corner. So if he could just replicate that, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, coming up on Jordan Ives here. He'll stay high. All these cars looking like they're going to make it by down the backstretch. And let me tell you, I feel bad for Tony Caputo if that inside line opens up and Kuntz gets by, because I feel like everyone behind Kuntz is probably going to slide right by as well. We've talked about the difficulty of that outside line all night.
Yeah, you can make it work, but you've got to be extremely aggressive. Every single person I've seen make it work, or every single person I've seen hold somebody off, they are sideways, sawing on the wheel coming up off the corner. It requires a lot of throttle commitment and a lot of commitment to, counter steer against any slide.
Yeah, this is definitely the most interesting battle going on the track right now. 123 of 150 laps completed in the Sim Racing Tech 150, Southern National 150 here from Southern National Motorsports Park in Kenly, North Carolina. Great battle going on right now. James Ray is your leader. That difference has stayed about 3/4 of a second for the past 10 laps or so. I'm looking at lap speeds, Chris, and that very last lap, Scott Sobczak was 1/100th slower. Actually 1/1000 slower than James Ray, but that time Scotty Sobczak was a little bit faster, and I'm seeing that gap close up just a little bit. But right now, I'm looking back at that battle, Chris, for the 6th position, and it is Caputo got the wall a little bit, and those cars are just as tight as they ever were. But I'm definitely seeing Scotty Sobczak making some progress on the back bumper of James Ray as we watch that battle live on the track right now. You see those last lap times on the right part of your screen.
Yeah, they're just super, super close, and we've only got 23 laps to go.
23 laps left.
22 laps. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to really get after it because laps go by really fast here. With
we got a caution on the track. Kenneth Gallman, Johnny Rapp, Chris Blassie on the outside of turn 2. All 3 of those cars go around. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris, but that is going to bring out the 3rd caution. I believe it's the 3rd caution of the evening. Kenneth Gallman got torn up pretty good, and Tony Caputo looks like he might have gotten in the back of that. Not sure what happened there.
Oh no!
We had a caution on the track, and I'm going to take a look to see if I can see what happened here. I just heard some more contact. So
a stack up right there, and yeah, it looked like Johnny Rapp got into the back of Gallman and Blassie.
Tony Caputo, Tony Caputo came in later, full bore out of turn 2 and slammed into the 71 to add insult to injury there.
No, let's watch it and see what happened here. Oh no, no! Oh man, he was running so great tonight too.
No, that was a hard one to watch. I just don't know if he knew that the caution was out or what, but it's going to tear up that 71. It's going to tear up the 42 and tear up the 52 as well. Looking at right now, we've got Rye Jones, Chris. Rye Jones coming onto pit road in 3rd place. He was the first car. So this is an interesting strategy. These drivers are on 45-lap-old tires. So here we are, Chris. This is another scenario where we're going to get a good idea of, what the value of new tires are. We've talked about this scenario pretty much happening every race. We've seen different results at different tracks, and we're going to get a good look at what Rye Jones is going to be able to do with those new, fresh tires. With just about 19 laps to go, I'd probably guess the restart's going to happen with about 15 laps to go. James Ray is going to retain the lead. Scotty Sobczak's going to be second. We're going to see where this puts Rye Jones back out on the track. I'm showing him scored in the 6th position.
Yeah, and there's only 6 cars on the lead lap. With the contact there, I think there's only 6 cars on the lead lap. With the contact and people maybe, having extended pit stops, I for some reason, the box time is not showing up for me for Rye Jones, but I'm willing to bet that with the short lap times here, you can only take 2 tires. And
so here's something interesting. I'm showing that it was 0.1 seconds. Did he miss his pit stop?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a glitch. I think that we've seen that. I've seen that across the board.
They're coming back to the green flag. James Ray inside into turn 1 is your leader. Scotty Sobczak second. Patrick Colby third. Matt Kuntz fourth. Nick DeCesare fifth. Johnny Rapp in 6th. Here's the problem if you're Rye Jones, though, Chris.
Yeah.
You're at the very back of the pack. You got trapped behind a lot of cars.
I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if he didn't pit on the first lap or what happened there, but yeah, that's a tough break for Rye Jones.
Yeah, Randy Bechtel in the chat. Johnny, he said Johnny wouldn't wreck anybody on purpose. And I agree with that. I don't know if there's some facetiousness to that or not, but it was clearly a checkup, Randy says. So, yeah, a little bit of a log jam there, Randy. We appreciate you watching. For our Kenneth Gallman fans, we appreciate you watching. Hopefully your driver can continue to chug on a little bit, sitting in the 10th position right now. But James Ray gotten about 0.3 of a second lead right now with about 13 to go, now about 12 to go. Scotty Sobczak doing everything he can to keep touch with the back of that 01 car, but Sobczak just doesn't have the speed right now. That last lap, Ray was about a little bit, 0.75 of a tenth faster. So we'll see if that number changes at all. But Patrick Colby back in third. I'm curious to see where Rye Jones.
I think he's gotten through all the lap traffic except for Johnny Rapp. I think that he's come up through the field really, really fast, but I think he's going to need a caution. I think he wants to have a caution.
I think with 10 laps to go, unless something happens like a caution, he's just going to have trouble getting up to the front to see if he's got anything for James Ray with these fresh tires. But I tell you what, Scott Sobczak has kept that differential about the same. I'm kind of watching both of these cars on track right now. I'm watching Rye Jones come through the field. You see him make that pass on Johnny Rapp. Scotty Sobczak is keeping touch with James Ray with just about 8 laps to go here at Southern National. We'll see if Rye Jones can get through a couple more cars and make this interesting. Looking at the last lap speeds, Rye Jones was a 14.39. James Ray was a 14.55. So about a tenth and a half a lap faster. We're going to see Jones probably get a little impatient with drivers like Matt Kuntz back there in the 5th position. Interesting battle going on right now between those drivers. He's going to see if he can duck to the inside
nice
here in turn 1.
Yeah, good cut through the center of the corner right there. Set that up nicely. He's going to complete that pass. Just got 6 laps to go, coming to 5 to go now.
Yeah, I don't think that 91 has the time he's going to need, like unless you said a caution comes out. But he's set to work on the back bumper of that 00 of Nick DeCesare. He'll see what he can do. There's not much time to spare, though, if anything's going to happen. With just about 5 laps, now 4 laps to go, as James Ray crosses the line, that difference between him and second place Scotty Sobczak continues to grow. You see Rye Jones taking a different approach here.
Yeah, he's
timing the corner a little bit, see if he can get a better run off.
Yeah, he's doing a late arc, almost diamonding the corner, getting a really good run up off. That's how he set up Matt Kuntz earlier. The goodie might be out of the tires now to do it. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, yeah, he's going to get a good run on DeCesare here.
3 laps left, though. Just not going to be the time Rye Jones needs to
Oh,
make
we
that.
got
Oh, Jones is going to bring out the
no.
caution he needed, and he's going to take several cars out with him. Nick DeCesare and that 00, I believe Johnny Rapp might have caught a piece of that as well, or maybe Johnny Rapp stayed out of it.
It's not the caution that he wanted.
No, the caution he needed, but not the caution he wanted, because he is the cause of the caution. Maybe just trying to do a little bit too much up there.
Yeah, let's watch it from overhead from the drone view right here. And yeah, I think it's just 2 guys that were racing really, really hard, really close together. And Rye Jones might have expected Nick to be a little bit further out, closer to the wall, and Nick might have expected Rye to be complete. A little bit closer to the apron there, and they come together and got a big crash. We'll watch that.
We're going to see now, as we look at the aftermath of that crash, we're going to see, I really doubt anyone's going to come in and take tires at this point. I think this is going to be pretty much you got what you got at this point, with just a couple laps before we hit this green-white checkered shootout. I missed it earlier in the chat, but big old debate going on between, the previous caution, what the root of that was. So hopefully those guys in the chat get that settled out. But I do know Johnny, and Johnny is not that type of racer. So, speaking as someone who has raced with Johnny for a little bit, he's not that type of racer. So
yeah, I think that was just a stack-up effect, and it just happened to, everybody got jammed up in front of him, and you're going to have that in short track racing.
Yep. Wrong place, wrong time. If you've known Johnny Rapp, he's actually the opposite of that. One of the cleanest guys out on the track. He's earned a reputation for taking care of other drivers out there, not pushing the limit too hard. But right now, Scotty Sobczak in second place is going to have to push the limit if he is going to have anything for James Ray, who is scored as your leader. James Ray, the points leader, looking to see if he can build on that tonight. Lights are going out on the pace truck, which could mean one thing, and that is we are about to go green for the final, hopefully final, 2 laps of this sim racing tech Southern National 150 from Slingshot Racing League in the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. Who's going to win it, Chris? We're going to find out here in just about 45 seconds. James Ray gets a good jump on Scotty Sobczak in the lead. Head into turn 1. Scott Sobczak running a slightly different line. Chris, Patrick Colby looking like he's going to draw a B to the inside of that driver of the 81. And right now, James Ray is off to the races.
White flag.
One more lap for James Ray in the 01 if he is going to claim his second victory of the season and continue to build on that points lead. It looks like there's nothing going to be in his way tonight. 4th race of the season. James Ray is going to take it at Southern National Motorsports Park in the Team 53 Summer Shootout. Fireworks go off in the background, and we might have some fireworks off the track tonight with some of the action that we saw, Chris. Your top 3 finishers, James Ray, Scotty Sobczak, Patrick Colby. You'll hear from them on the other end of this break here in just a moment. We're going to take a second to catch our breath. We'll be right back. All right, we are looking live at Southern National Motorsports Park. James Ray is your winner of the Sim Racing Tech 150 that you just saw the ad for. But first, we're going to hear from Patrick Colby, our third place finisher tonight. First of all, Patrick, driver the number 9, congratulations on that podium finish. Really good run tonight. Talk to us a little bit about, it felt like there was a calm portion of the race, and then as we got later in, you saw some really tough racing that led to some accidents. How did you manage to stay out of that trouble tonight?
That first wreck, I got to be honest, I just got lucky. I came around the corner, and everybody was just kind of sitting there, and I happened to be in the right spot to avoid it, and just kind of kept picking up spots here and there where I could, not pushing it too hard. I just didn't have like the pure speed that Scott and James had tonight. So just kind of methodically moving up, and everything kind of worked out to hold on to a third here.
What was the most difficult part of the race tonight? Was it kind of inside the race car with the way the car was handling?
Just being patient. You can burn that right front off so fast here without really even knowing it, but kind of letting it kind of glide in. And for me, wrapping the seam down there in the bottom of the corner really helped turn the car and not overdo the right front. So just kind of that patience throughout the long runs to not overdo it.
Well, you showed a lot of patience. It paid off. Congratulations. I know that's going to do a little bit for your points position. I know you were sitting in 5th position just about. I'm looking at how many points you were back. Sorry, I thought I had these pulled up. Yeah, 5th position, about 16 points out of the lead. So this is going to do a little bit of help for you, getting you up maybe a position or two. So congratulations on that. Any shout-outs before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, obviously going to shout out my soon-to-be wife for all the support she gives me doing this shenanigans. So I appreciate that. And obviously, you guys put on a great show, and my teammates. We wouldn't be 1, 2, 3 if it wasn't for them.
Hey, well, we appreciate you, and we love teammates. Good teamwork tonight to get you up there. Patrick Colby, everybody, have a good night, Patrick.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. All right, so you heard from Patrick Colby, your 3rd place finisher. We are going to bring in Scotty Sobczak, your 2nd place finisher tonight. And yeah, here we go. Scotty is in the booth.
Scotty Sobczak, your 2nd place finisher tonight. This is Slingshot Booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you guys.
Hey man, you were up there in the mix all night, and you were also, Ellis and I were kind of talking about it, you were also in the mix of a lot of the trouble. It seemed like whenever there was trouble, you were kind of close by, but you were able to skirt by it all. Talk us through your night. It looked like it was pretty event-filled.
Yeah, that was a pretty busy race. There was a lot going on for a lot of laps there, and between trying to run the bottom and not let get guys above you, and having lap cars involved. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. I'm okay being around a lot of incidents as long as I'm not involved. And there's a couple that happened up front there, and I got tagged a little bit and got some damage. But as long as you don't get spun completely around or get head on into something, you can drive these cars off. So yeah, I got a little bit lucky there, but also staying up front kind of kept us away from this carnage.
Yeah, it seems like things happen really, really fast here. It's a really, really fast short track. How did the car drive tonight? As far as like, what was the biggest challenge? Was it managing the tires, or just trying to avoid all the chaos around you?
Yeah, it was a little bit trying to find the right line and the way to use the brakes to get around the corner. I was for sure before this race thinking that there's no way you're passing on the outside, but Braxton found a way to do that there early on to me, and so that kind of showed me that was possible. But it looked like you could only do that on fresh tires, so kind of had to watch out for that and see what people were going to do on the restarts. But it was cool to see placeholder racing guys at James and Patrick up front here too, and get top 3 for all of us. So we'll take it.
Hey man, well you did great all night. You had great speed up there in the mix all night. Avoided all the trouble and a great run. Any shout outs that you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, my wife Alex watching, daughter Isla, Mr. Figs, Remy, they're watching. Pine Mountain Auto Supply, you guys for putting this on, and Race Control. Thought they'd call it a good race, and can't wait to watch the broadcast.
All right, man. That's Scotty Sobzak, your second place finisher tonight. Scotty, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
All right. So you heard from Scotty Sobzak. Now we're going to hear from our winner tonight, James Ray. James Ray, Ellis, and Chris up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, congratulations. First of all, win number 2 on the season. I know that's going to help you extend your points lead just a little bit tonight here at Southern National. Well, it was a busy race. We talked to Scotty and Patrick, your second and third place finishers, and they both agreed that there was definitely some action going on the track tonight. Everywhere you looked, it looked like you were dealing with some side-by-side racing. We had some late race cautions. Talk us through about how you stayed out of the fray most of the night in terms of that trouble that we saw for several drivers.
I think I just got lucky, honestly. Just kind of played my cards right there on that longer run, and I don't know. Just when I made the move, I was there just not to be the car behind me, and got caught up in that. It's just one of those lucky things,
Yeah, luck was definitely on your side tonight more than it was a couple of weeks ago at Hickory. I know that was kind of unfamiliar territory for you finishing outside the top 5, but I know it's got to feel good to be back there in a victory circle tonight. Talk to us a little bit about how the car handled. I know that we've heard about the right fronts burning up a little bit. Did you experience any of that? How did you manage to take care of your stuff so well?
Well, after, the Hickory race, I kind of told myself I need to calm down a little bit and start driving the car and not the racetrack so much and the other drivers so early. So I kind of just fell back in there and just tried to save as much as I could and just watch what everybody else was doing. And then whenever I seen them guys pushing off forward a little bit more, and I kind of found something there in the very bottom, kind of was double braking on the entry, then through the center to get it to rotate more. And I seen that I was coming back through. So I was like, I kind of stuck with that line for the rest of the race.
Yeah, we noticed it as soon as you started doing that. You were able to roll the bottom just a little bit better. You were double braking. What do you mean? You're just kind of pumping the brakes twice to initiate some turn?
Yeah, I was going in when I was braking when I first entered the corner, and I was letting it roll, and then about center, I'd kind of ease on the brake when I was coming back to gas to kind of just rotate it and get the left side on that white line, and it just drove itself around the corner for me. So I think I saved my right front a little bit more.
Oh, man, that's good insight, good racing. Spoken like a true pro tonight. So you've got about 2 races left in the season. Which one are you looking forward to least?
Both of them. Both of them now, because now that I got the bullseye on my back again.
You got some pressure on you the final 2 weeks of the season, so I know probably going to get some practice in for those final 2 weeks, but we'll be looking at the driver, that number 01 car, James Ray, looking to see if he can seal the deal and close out a championship, extending his lead just a little bit tonight. Hey, before we let you go, James, you got any shout-outs you want to give?
I'll give a shout out to you guys for doing all this and the broadcasters that all do this. And I'll give a shout out to Scotty and Patrick for letting me come over there and run this season with them. It's kind of cool to hang out in Discord and have somebody to talk to or race and kind of a little bit of strategy at the same time. And then Adrenaline Spikes that does all my painting.
Hey, did you know Johnny and Patrick before before this season?
No, sir.
That's awesome. That's what Slingshot Racing's all about. So we're excited that you found us, and we're excited that y'all found each other. So congratulations on the win tonight. 2 more weeks, and we'll see if you can become a Slingshot Racing champion, man. Good job, James Ray. Have a good evening.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Chris, tonight, man, I felt like I never had a moment to breathe with all the action we saw out on the track, whether it was, a battle for 8th through 12th that would not end, whether it was, some bumping and begging. Later on in the race, we had a handful of cautions, whether it was leaders running into some issues with lap cars. Tonight was a complex race, and, James Ray made it out unscathed. You can see he is the winner. Scotty Sobzak second, Patrick Colby third, Matt Kuntz fourth. Going to do wonders for him in the points. I think that'll keep him in third place in points. Johnny Rapp. Chris, Johnny Rapp's best finish of the season. 5th place, his first top 5 of the year. I know he's glad to get that. And, hey, Chris, look who finished 6th place.
Yeah, with that new steering wheel.
The new direct drive wheel. Did wonders for him. So congratulations. He moved up 6 positions on the evening. Chris Blassie, another guy who we're not necessarily always used to seeing running the top 6 or 7. Great job tonight. He survives the race. He finishes 7th. Great job to the driver that 16th. Kenneth Gallman ends up finishing 8th place. Not a bad finish. Brandon Waldrop. Chris, I believe this is Brandon Waldrop's first top 10 of the season. So great job for the driver of that number 50 car. Who hung on till the very end, stayed out of a lot of trouble. And Nick DeCesare brings it home in the 10th position after having some involvement in that late race carnage we saw in the closing laps of this Team 53 Summer Shootout race. So that is your top 10 finishers, I believe. Jordan Ives was 11th, Clint Walker 12th. Rye Jones, Chris, after running 3rd for the closing stages, kind of tried an alternate strategy. You think he's regretting that call to take those fresh tires and putting himself back in that trouble?
No, I just think that there was a bit of a miscommunication off of 4 between him and Nick DeCesare, and I think that he was sitting. I think he was going to finish about the same spot, but if he got a caution and called a caution, he might have been your winner tonight. So I don't think he regrets the strategy. I just think it was bad luck in what transpired there off of turn 4.
Absolutely, and Tony Caputo, despite having a good run early on, got involved in that late race caution, kind of barreled in there after the fact. 14th, Daniel Berg brings it home in 15th. Braxton DeWeese, Chris, disappointing night for his debut in the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. Braxton DeWeese led a good portion of laps this evening, but he's not going to have to finish the show for it after getting caught up in a caution about midway through the race. And Josh Ward also disappointing finish after having a good run tonight. We talked about that being something that Josh Ward has struggled with a little bit in that 92 this season after having a really good truck season last season in the Slingshot Racing League. So that is your 17 finishers tonight, Chris. Great race. We're appreciative to all of our sponsors, obviously, tonight. Special primary partner, Sim Racing Tech. They've got great products, great LED racing indicator lights that kind of help you identify what's going out on the track, whether it's a caution flag or maybe you've got a car to your outside. Fun fact, what travels faster, light or sound?
Light.
I'm going to put the social studies teacher on the spot. You are right, my friend.
Yeah.
Light travels faster than sound, so those lights can make a huge difference. You can check them out. The link to Sim Racing Tech's Etsy site to purchase any of those products can be found in the video description that you're watching right now. And also, shout out to Team 53 who helps us put this series on. They provide the setups each week and driver training videos for each one of our drivers to get a little bit of help going into each one of these races. If you're looking to develop your sim racing skills, Team 53 might be the right place for you. You can check out their link as well. So thank you for their support. Chris, any departing thoughts on our way out tonight?
Just that I think it was a great night of racing. Saw a lot of great action out there. We did see some carnage like we expected to see, but we also saw a lot of close, clean racing. And at the end, James Ray has proven himself to be the championship front runner all season, and he came through with a victory tonight, and really excited to see how these next 2 weeks play out and who's going to come out of here with this championship.
He's definitely got a target on his back heading in the final 2 races of the season. Hey, we've got another race this week. Tomorrow night, the Apex Energy Summer Throwback Series is headed into Bristol. Those 87s are going to put on a great show tomorrow night. Same time as tonight's race, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch pre-race at 8:25 on our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook pages. And hey, do you remember who won that race last year, Chris?
Some chump driving the 28 car, I think, won.
With the name of Chris Smith. So we'll be looking at you tomorrow night to see if you can back up and defend your win from last season. Hey, everyone, we appreciate all of our viewers tuning in tonight. You make this possible. You are who we do this for. We hope that your drivers made you proud tonight. Until next week, and really technically tomorrow night, Chris Smith, Ellis Thomas, and the Slingshot broadcast booth. Everyone have a good evening.